Hello everybody, thank you for coming down today, our final native sessions today. We're joined by Felipe and Rafael from Dengue. And we are going to be attacking the subject of tropical frequencies. Essentially a subject theme where we look at how global sounds influence us and drive us towards greater creativity. And I think there's no one better to discuss this topic than you guys, because not only do you have so much influence from your native country, Peru, but you're taking a lot of influence from other sounds from around the world. Before we go any further, I want to remind you that we have a social stream going on. If you take photos, Instagram, please use the hashtag Native Sessions. We also have a great YouTube channel where we have a lot more videos based around the theme of tropical frequencies and all of the other subjects that we've addressed over the week. So there are hours galore of watching when you get home. So before we go any further, I want to show you this video we produced in cooperation with Dengue.
Por un amigo que tenía, saca un tema para el petróleo, se inspira en la danza petrolera. Esta es la danza del petrolero, del hombre rey del oro negro. Era dedicado al hombre del petróleo. Y como el copión se ha ido a los milos.
So obviously, most of us don't speak Spanish. Well, assumably so, and we can't help with that, so we're going to get YouTube to just put the subtitle. Is that this one?
De pronto el oro negro, que no era igual que el tema sacado. La danza de petrolero, del hombre rey del oro negro. Esta es la danza de petrolero, del hombre rey del oro negro. Esta es la danza de petrolero, del hombre rey del oro negro. Esta es la danza de petrolero, del hombre rey del oro negro.
Yeah, maybe you guys could talk us through what happened. What was the film all about?
We did a party with these guys, with Wendlers, like 4 years ago, and we were really in love with their sound. We were like making this fusion between electronic music and cumbia from the jungle of Peru. So we found about these guys through a compilation, I think. Yeah, and we started looking for the tracks, and we came with the idea of making a party with these guys and putting together a lineup with DJs and electronic artists that were like influenced by them. You know? That was our first project with them, actually. And then we have a friend that works with native instruments, and he was planning this documentary with some of the guys from Native, and he talked about this with us, and we find it like a really great idea, like to meet these guys again and maybe like do or record something with them, you know.
Yeah, and after that, then we went to Iquitos, which is in the jungle of Peru, and we met the guys. It was really fun. We had like a some talks about their views on music and stuff like that, and then we had like a little home session, just recording in the living room, and yeah, it was.
That's what you saw in the video.
Yeah, and it was really fun because we took like they have no. I mean, their world doesn't include electronic music at all. So we took a little drum machine, well, the machine.
Micro, right?
Yeah.
Micro.
And it was really funny because we gave it to them and they didn't know how to set it up. So we took some time setting it up, trying to show. I mean, it was the son or the grandson. I think it was the grandson of one of them. It was the only one that knew how to use a computer. So we explained him how to set up. And then he had the machine there, and he started playing, you know, and he was so surprised, you know, because he was like, okay, I put in some bongos, and he was playing the bongos, and then I said, and he was like, wow, this is so cool, little, and it sounds so good, and then I said, okay, I can put some another kind of percussion, you know, and then he was like, wow, you know, I'm playing like, I know, it was really fun seeing him. And then
we made a really quick drum kit for him, and like show him some, you know, like live drumming, you know? And he was like in 30 seconds he was like the master of machine.
Yeah, he was just like
finger drumming master.
Yeah, he was just like trying the sound. Okay, this is here, this is here, this is here, and then he just told the man, okay, go, and they started playing, and he just.
It's funny, right? Because I guess because we've obviously grown up and developed music with technology, so we take a lot for granted, don't we? So it's great to be reminded that there are, there's obviously not just a generation of musicians, but there's a whole load of people who have no connection to music making in that way, albeit just a simple way of kind of triggering hands. While you're saying that, I was just imagining you going into the studio, and obviously there's a room full of acoustic instruments, and then you walk in with your laptop and microphone.
Yeah, and it was a little room in the house, and they have like this rusted mixer with some like mics that were like almost teared apart, you know. And we were like there with only one sound card, like okay, we have to record this somehow, you know. We made this crazy thing with the cables, and finally we got the guitar and like the bass, I think, and a little bit of a second guitar. We had to switch between channels to record, so they have to play like twice. It was really difficult, but really funny and really like interesting to do with them.
Maybe we could just put these guys into context a bit. It's Los Pueblos de Quitos. Maybe you could explain a little bit of their like cultural lineage and why it is that you guys have brought them to Lima and you decided to work with them for this project.
Okay, so a little bit of like history. Cumbia came to Peru through two places from Colombia, through the jungle and also through the coast. And when it landed in the jungle, it was around the late 60s, and they had this like petrol revolution, you know. There were like big companies coming to the jungle, like Shell and these kind of companies, and they were bringing lots of people from the States, you know, from the United States. And these people brought electric guitars and I don't know, like rock music and stuff like this, and suddenly, you know, in the middle of the jungle, these people found they had, you know, guitars and even some mooks, no? Yeah. And it was the late 60s. So some tropical bands like Los Wemblers started using these elements, you know, and start to change the accordion, which was the melody in Colombia, for the electric guitar, and they got this distinct sound that is, you know, the cumbia from Peru, you know, which is guitar based. And well, this was in the late 60s, 70s, and now, like 40 years later or more, the guys are still playing together. You know, it's the only band from that era that still has the same lineup, and they still play like they used to play. You know, all the other bands that are still around, they change their style through through all these years, you know, and I don't know, it's a bit more commercial, you know, it's different, you know. These guys are really special, you know. They are 4 brothers and they all compose, so it's a really creative, you know, feeling around them.
Did they have a reason for just maintaining the particular style over the years?
I think it's just their view on music, you know. They just didn't want to compromise their sound, you know, which I found, you know, like super inspiring.
They do some stuff like more kind of cheesy, you know, as well, like the new maybe.
But not with Los Wemblers, you know. They have like a side project,
Yeah.
you know, like maybe with that.
Yeah, it's like more for parties and you know, like really like party music, really popular.
But seeing them live is really cool, you know. They actually talk very little, you know, which is really, you know, like not so common, you know. Usually they have some guy talking through all the thing, you know, trying to say hey ho, or who's in this football team or whatever. They don't do this, you know. They just play and play and play.
And they do like animal noises, like bird noises.
So was there music in your households growing up? Is it kind of standard family music?
The Wemblers came, you know, after. Like I just heard of the Wemblers like maybe 6 years ago. Or
Your parents maybe?
No,
not really. Like that kind of music, I could hear it maybe in the supermarket or in the public transport, stuff like this, you know. But not really at home. My parents went to some other thing.
So it's music in a way. Would you say it's like music? Like, was it quite cheesy? Was it something that wasn't necessarily for public consumption? It was more about kind of like.
it's like it was popular in the popular neighborhoods. You know, it's like it's just different. Maybe rich people was listening to rock at that time or whatever, you know. But the hoods normally is like the music from the you can say worker class in Lima. It's the chicha. That is like cumbia that came through the Andes and went down to the coast and just mixed with all this influence from like the songs, the lyrics are more from Huayno maybe, and also the guitars kind of mimic the harps they use in the music from the highlands as well.
We're talking a lot about cumbia, but maybe you could also say, like, how prevalent is it, especially in Peru? Is it like really a big thing still at the moment? Yeah.
Yeah, but the cumbia that is sounding now is like really commercial.
It's called new cumbia.
NU cumbia.
Yeah, okay. Nueva cumbia. Yeah, you can use that.
But maybe going back to this project with Los Wemblers, what was the goal? What was the inspiration, and kind of what came out of this project?
From the Wemblers. So as we were saying, we had these really raw recordings from the guitar and the bass and the second guitar. And we didn't have the percussions because there was no way of putting another channel in of that mixer because it was like broken, you know, and
Very poor.
so the first I just thought about making like the same track but kind of edit it a little bit with some electronic beats, but then I just like kind of went for another idea that was like really to make a rework of their original track, and I only used the first guitar for it. We changed all the instruments for synths and electronic drum kits.
And did Machine play a role in the music production?
Yeah, we did, the beats were made with Machine and with Polyplex. With Reason, actually.
So talk us through the development process. How did you go from the raw recordings to taking it to this new, modern take on it?
I use Ableton Live for production. And so I got all the samples there and just like started cutting what I was using from the guitar. And when I had like the melody and everything put together, I just like start filling up the gaps with electronic elements, So you have the main melody of the track is there, but it's just in a different order, you can say. And yeah, basically we used, as I said, polyplex for the beats and MASCHINE for the bass. And yeah, so that's pretty much the track. It's just like maybe 7 tracks. You know?
And in terms of your working relationship, how do you divvy up responsibilities in the studio?
Like I normally take care more of the music and Rafa more of the video.
Yeah.
And we just like get together and discuss topics about this and like ideas. And then we just go and work separately. You know?
So you don't argue over kick drums, you don't have to argue over kick drums or snares. So
No, not really. It's a little bit maybe.
So if you hit random on polyplex and it just comes up an amazing kick,
Yeah.
they go, don't like that snare. It's fine.
It's better that way.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes for sure we end up just saying, no, I don't like this element or something, and then something will change around it. Yeah.
Do you have much experience with recording bands in the past?
Not really. It's actually one of my first works, like recording a band, and yeah, it's really interesting. This is a thing that I want to do more, but at the same time, I just realized that I'm not like really pro doing that. You know, it's like I'm really amateur, so I'm just learning all the time.
And what was it about working with those guys that was so compelling? Was it, about it's just an interesting project to do and explore, or was it about you're trying to use it as a platform to, reconnect people with music from the past?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the main reason we chose this band, because it's really a big influence for a lot of bands in Lima, and yeah.
But I think this kind of, what you touched upon, that kind of approach is very much present within a lot of your work, like your most recent album, excuse my mispronunciation, Las Siete Raíces?
Siete Raíces.
Yeah. It encompasses a lot of different elements, particularly from Peru as well. And is this because, was it a conscious decision to say, hey, we want to blend all these elements together? Or was it just like a product of your environment?
I think there's a lot of tracks that maybe you don't think about this stuff where you're doing it, it just flows. But there's, for example, Guarida, that is this song, the only track with vocals really in the album. I really thought about this as like I have to work this rhythm, this lando. It's Afro-Peruvian music. It's a rhythm that is mixed with like Spanish influences, and it's basically like a waltz and kind of a different cadence with some percussion in it. So I just did this because I wanted to like refresh the sound, so maybe younger people can dig it, like this sounds cool. What is it? It's a lando, and then that's like old music, like maybe their grandparents were listening.
I mean, like usually the music gets done first, and then after a while, when we see what we have, then we start choosing and said, okay, then we can like put it around this concept, and these tracks would work with this concept, But that usually comes after we already have the music done.
I like the idea of reworking the walls. You know why? Because it works at weddings. It's a cross-generational tunes, man. It's great. What would you say has been the most challenging thing about working in this way? Given that I know there's not an agenda, but there's definitely clearly an aesthetic that you're trying to maintain. Do you find that it can be restricting sometimes?
We're trying not to do that, not to restrict ourselves with that. We can maybe make a lando, as I said, one day, and the other day I'm making a footwork track. And maybe the thing that you can notice in between of those tracks, like the similarities, is that there's some different music mixed with it. It's not a pure thing, it's always a fusion.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do, but not to restrict to one rhythm or one genre.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, maybe touch upon on how kind of more global sounds influence your record. For instance, say like the track "Bad Man." It has this kind of this coastal influence from Peru, but it also could equally work in a DMZ, you know, in a Mahler set. How do you approach this conceptual, compositional like approach to blending these two different worlds together, or does it just occur naturally?
It's more like the cadence of the music.
Yeah.
You can match it a lot with like cumbia. You can match it a lot with dub. So it's really easy to make a parallel between those two and just work just in different lines, you know, in the same one.
Yeah. I think when we do sometimes like DJ sets, we like just playing like different kind of music together. You know, you find that some things work together, and after that we can take this idea back to the studio.
How do you approach your DJ sets as well? I keep asking you about your approach, like, but I find it super interesting. I've seen you a few times. I've heard quite a few mixes. Always different styles, different approaches. So, especially with live, do you have like a strategy when you go to a club? Do you go, okay, we're going to take it in this direction, we're going to play these tracks, or is it more on the fly?
Yeah, kind of. Like we have like I don't know, a set that it's been going on for 4 years, so it's huge now. It has everything that we play, you know.
It's
So
like 400 tracks or something.
or, yeah, 4,000
Or no,
I don't know.
I lost the count.
I don't know. I don't know the
It's
number,
computer
but
crash.
Yeah, sure.
It's just too much for the computer now. But the thing is that, yeah, we have everything there, so we just start with whatever we think it's, you know, suits the place. But the real thing comes after 2 or 3 tracks when you see the people, you know. Like I'm not actually seeing them because I'm watching the equipment, but I just feel the mass of people there, and just, I don't know, the sensory information, and then we know, okay, we have to take it this direction this time.
What is your setup for playing?
We use a machine micro.
We just change it.
Yeah.
So
A machine MK2.
one F1.
One F1 for the visuals, and then Rain 64 mixer.
There's like
Put everything.
sound card and
Yeah.
you know everything. You can
Is
mix
that
it.
two laptops, one laptop for visual, one for the sound? Something?
No, both do sound,
Yeah.
and one is sound and video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's one depression.
One that keeps
yeah.
crashing.
I'm curious. I mean, I like the idea that you know, obviously there's a visual focus and there's an audio focus. I mean, and obviously when it comes to writing, that has there's a creative apartheid, right? Do you know what I mean? But when it comes to actually developing a live show, there needs to be some kind of cohesion, right? So then how do you then navigate that? You for example, you might have a strong idea of what you want visually for a particular track. You know, how do you then shoehorn that into what you want? Or is it about just going, you know what, these are the tracks, I trust you, you know?
Yeah, normally it's like that, and we do like 2 tracks each, and in between those tracks, sometimes I play like live drums, and sometimes I do the video while he's playing, and other like vice versa.
All the time we try to do it like this, and I think because we travel so much together, most of the influences that we have are stuff that we both received, you know?
Yeah.
It's
So,
like I got this CD
so
from
we never
someone.
have to really discuss so many things, you know? It's just what is happening, you know, what we're like listening now, so, you know, maybe sometimes, you know, like, I would go like, no, I don't really like this or something, or he would say, tell me about this, but it doesn't happen that much, you know, it's just like...
So is there like an eye gesture that he gives you when he doesn't like it? when you're doing back-to-back, is there kind of a...
You're like, exactly.
Let's hear something.
Yeah, okay. Am I online? Can I play this? I want to play this track. Can I play this one?
Yeah, of course. That's a compilation. The Búho. El Búho is an artist.
But he has this ONG organization to, well, they do different projects, but this project was about, helping endangered bird species around South America. So they gave each of the artists, from South America, a bird that was from the region.
Yeah.
So for us, they gave us a bird called Remolinera Real, which is the name of the track, and this is what came out.
Let's listen to it then.
Cheeky kind of footworky, subtle footworky bass.
Yeah.
I was kind of expecting it to go dun, 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 in case you just took us to Jamaica.
Yeah, Jamaica in the highlands of Peru. This bird is from a part called Laguna.
Okay.
It's like from 3,500 meters to 4,500 meters, I think. Below the sea level, so this is a really high place, and there's not too much oxygen. There's some animals, but not too much, And one of them is this little bird that, it's like 300 left or something. Yeah.
So what happened when you got the sample sent through? Like, what were your initial thoughts in terms of writing a song for this?
That's why I was talking about this, because I was trying to give this kind of cold feeling to it and kind of lost thing, lost vibe, like a really melancholic thing. And but I got stuck and it was too dark and too depressing, so I just went for dub,
Yes.
Dub's a very integral part of your music, right? Where does this come from?
I was listening to a lot of reggae, but not I didn't like too much reggae when I was teenager, but all my friends were listening to reggae for a lot of time, so I just got curious and like started digging a little bit, but not that much, you know. But I always liked it. And I just feel the connection between cumbia and that really cool. It's just go that way, you know.
There's a little bit of like a dub fever in Peru, right? In the last few years.
Yeah.
So I think we got a little influenced by that too.
When you say dub, what kind of dub are we talking about?
We have like Racing Stepas and those guys, you know, coming twice a year or something, you know, which is odd, you know, for such a small music market like Peru, you know, to have these guys all the time around, you know.
I mean, I'm assuming most of us haven't been to Peru before, but you know, what was it like growing up? You know, in your teens and early 20s. You know, what kind of things were you getting? What kind of music were you getting? What kind of music were your peers into? We talked a little bit about dub, but what other things were you getting?
Well, when I was maybe, I don't know, I started making electronic music when I was 16 or 15. Just like with shareware, downloaded things. And at that time I was like in 3 different punk bands. I was playing drums in one, bass in the other one, guitar in the other one, and writing songs and shit like that. Like normal teenager thing, you know. And I was listening to a lot of punk music from like California or stuff like that. And but I always had this kind of I was very, very interested in electronic music, you know. So I was like into Daft Punk or like more intelligent things like Aphex Twin or Altekre or stuff like that, you know. But that isn't like the normal thing you get, you know, because the other people, like my friends, were listening to just stuff from the radio, and radio is like music from the 80s in Lima. Like there are maybe 2 stations, like big stations that only play 80s music. And that was it, pretty much, you know, like maybe Latin pop music, salsa, a bit of chicha, not too much, you know, and like 80s music, that's it. 80s pop music. Yeah.
Are we talking super cheese, right? We're talking the cheese end.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Were there many electronic music parties when you were growing up?
Around maybe.
They started like in the 2000s.
Yeah,
so?
in
99.
In 98 we started to have like the little thing in a club that was like a rock club that had like a little room that started to play electronic music, and then we started to have like big parties around 2000, but it was always connected to trance or like really funky house, which I never enjoyed.
And tribal New York style.
Okay. So I guess it's the percussive element that was kind of.
Yeah, I was a DJ from 2001. Like I was playing this stuff as well, like deep house and tech house and techno. Like I went to every genre possible, you know, and just like end up playing this.
And that was about you exploring electronic music and finding what resonated with you, I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
How was the process of music discovery? Like growing up in Lima, what were your sources?
Downloads, right? Yeah.
Huh?
Downloads, you said, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, but before that, like
Before that, it was just getting music through friends.
before internet, it was like
Yeah.
someone had the CD that bought in like London.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, everyone was like
Yeah,
passing
for
it
sure.
around.
Like the first time that we got like a tape, a cassette player that could record from one cassette to the other, you know, I'm talking about the 80s or something. You know, it was amazing. You know, it was the first time we could just like share the music, and then with the CD burners, it was like everywhere. You know?
I had this friend that was like older than me, like I don't know, 5 years, and he was out of school. I was still in school, and he was like electronic head guy, you know, like he was like very into it, and he was listening to really interesting stuff, and he was like making me tapes like, yeah man, you gotta listen to this, and like recording a tape, you know. And like I got like music from him and like I don't know, a lot of different stuff like stereo lab, you know, and that was really hard to get. That was my source was this guy, and he also introduced me to Fruity Loops, and I started making music because he gave the project to me, and you know.
And also there's a lot of pirate music in Peru, you know, so you can, you know, this is for electronic music, but for other kind of music, you know, you can go to the market and buy really, really cheap CDs or whatever.
Like 1,000 tracks of rock or 1,000 tracks of cumbia.
And you can find interesting stuff there too, you know, most of the stuff is really cheesy, but if you dig, you can find good stuff.
So I guess you're pretty much renegades in your neighbourhood, right? Do you know what I mean? I get the sense that there was obviously plenty of punk and rock kids, but for people who are more interested in 808 drum machines and 909 drum machines, there was few and far between. I mean, did that work against you? I mean, you know.
Well, we had to build everything that we wanted to do. That's the thing, you know, like we don't get much things happening, you know, so if you want something to happen, you have to do it yourself. You know, so that's what we've been doing the last 15 years, you know, not just, you know, making Dengue, but making a label and parties and events, you know, to make something happen, you know, so yeah.
So we didn't have an underground electronic scene, we made it.
You created it, sure. And how's that been?
I mean, not
we made
just
it.
us, no, us and our friends, you know,
Yes,
it's a big crew, you know, but yeah, we've been running, I don't know, like at the beginning drum and bass parties like 10, 15 years ago, then we went through dubstep and UK bass or whatever, and we've been, you know, like...
We were trying to be fresh all the time.
Yeah, but it's always been really difficult because we usually like the stuff while it's happening, you know, and then we try to make those parties when the artists are, you know, like in their moment, you know, but people don't...
It takes time.
Yeah, it takes time.
Right, sure. Yeah.
Exactly. It takes time, so it's really difficult. But I don't know why, but we still do it. You know?
And kind of going back to the beginning, you've booked Los Ramblas at your events like a couple of times.
No, just once.
Just once.
Yeah.
And how was that? How did the crowd and how was the balance between the music and the night?
Yeah, well, it was amazing. It was the first time we tried something like this. You know, the party we brought these guys to, it was a party we've been running at that time for I think 2 years. And it was a really popular party, maybe 2,000 people or 1,500. And it was just like, okay, let's do it, you know, let's just bring one band and put it in the middle of, you know, people are not used to listening to bands in that kind of scene, you know. And it was a risk, but it was amazing, you know, for both, you know, the crowd and I think the band, you know, the band were really happy, you know. We gave them an hour of set and they were like, pissed off, you know, to go back, go out on the stage, you know, they wanted to stay and, you know, play more, you know.
They were like, you know, surprised to see so much young people digging the stuff. You know?
I guess you managed them now, right?
It was difficult, you know, like they don't do emails or stuff like this, you know, so when we were writing to them, we have to write to their grandson, you know, and he didn't reply back, you know, we were thinking of, you know, flying there and bringing them, but they arrived to the airport, you know, it was a miracle. I'm talking about a band that the youngest guy has 67, you know, yeah.
But it's not just that; it's where they're located as well, right? Iquitos. Isn't it the most remotest city in the world at the moment?
No, not really. It's one of the biggest cities of the jungle, but it's still, you know, a 3-hour plane or something like this.
2 hours. 2 hours from the capital.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, it's not even off topic, you talk about the jungle a lot in just your narrative. You know, we've got an idea of what jungle, what we don't. Well, I come from London, I don't know what jungle is. London Zoo is a jungle for me. What is the jungle mean to you?
Well, it has, I mean, the jungle of Peru, you know, has like its own thing, you know, because the country is so diverse, you know, it's usually it's because it's divided by the Andes, you know. The Andes are, you know, like very rough and big, so the thing that is happening in the coast in Lima where we live is completely different what is happening in the other part, you know. So we found that really interesting and inspiring because they're doing their own thing, you know, like I said before, you know, they were like, they took the accordion out of the cumbia and they put electric guitar, you know, and make it their own. And we kind of felt that we were doing the same, you know, we were bringing that sound into something different, you know, making it through a computer, you know, so yeah, I see a parallel there, and we like, that's what I like about the jungle. And
food is
I
great.
don't know, it's yeah, the food is great, but it's rough. It's rough to be there, you know, it's super hot.
Super hot. There's a lot of mosquitoes.
There's a lot,
crazy.
yeah. So
And like the motorcycles, the people just ride motorcycles all the way the city, and it's like it's crazy all the time.
the sound is
You're in the jungle, like really beautiful place, and the sound is like all the time.
And is there a kind of junglist mentality? I had to get that.
jungle.
I had to. Yeah, so is there like a junglist mindset? Do you know what I mean, like, is it, you know, in terms of people from Lima?
It's very chilled.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
very
yeah,
chilled
definitely.
because it's really hot. So if you can't really be quick about things because you're gonna melt, you know. So everything have to be really chilled. You have to take a lot of like. You have to be really patient with people, you know, and just like take it easy all the time. So it's cool, you know. Just like you learn a lot doing that out of the city. You know?
And this kind of comes through in your visual aspect as well, right? The jungle influence, and kind of what you do with your visual work live and on the records, right?
Yeah, we try to follow what we are doing in the music, so it actually shifted a little bit with the last album, you know, it's not so jungle focused, but we definitely still take lots of influences there, you know, like they have their own kind of art, you know, which is really psychedelic, you know, they use a lot of neon colors, you know, and stuff like this, and we took a little bit of that in, you know,
With your
yeah.
performance wear, right?
There's a lot of art influenced by ayahuasca as well. So yeah, we took a lot of, not a lot of ayahuasca, but a lot of that influence as well.
What was the, in terms of, you know, obviously you've been doing this for 15 years, it's kind of a slow build locally, in terms of building parties and events and records. What was the pivotal point when, you know, you started to get, it was more about playing away from home than it was than playing at home? Was there a pivotal year or?
Yeah, that's 2012, you know.
Yeah. What was it? What made that happen?
We released the first album and a video, which went like crazy on
Went
YouTube.
kind of viral, you know, so I think that helped us a lot, you know, I don't know, we didn't really plan it like this, you know, we got lots of press and stuff, you know, and we never asked for it, you know, it's not like we had a strategy plan and anything. We just put the record out, you know, on our own label, you know, and then another label from Europe picked it up and reissued it. So I think that also helped a lot, and the video helped a lot, you know, like
It's really like important to have like a you know, like a card, you know, something to prove that you are these guys and you're making this. So the video is the best tool for that, I think.
So do you think that without the video you would have had the notoriety? Do you think, looking back?
yeah, a little. I think it would.
Maybe, but it helped a lot. Like,
Yeah, I think
really.
maybe it would happen some other way, you know. But yeah.
How are we doing for time?
Gosh.
Yeah, I think we're about done. But
Let's see if any of these guys want to ask a question.
Oh yeah. Yes.
No? Okay, question in front, at the front. Go for it.
Have you guys thought of traveling to other places and working with local musicians from different backgrounds, like saying the story of them and their own music?
Yeah, that would be awesome. Like if we can do it in every town we visit, that would
You
be.
haven't done it yet, or like you?
No, because we've been like touring so much, you know. But we need to make a time for that. That's like the next album will have to be like that. You know?
But we still definitely get influenced every time we travel to a new place, you know, we try to meet people, some locals, and try to get some music, you know, and some sounds from somewhere we're visiting.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. So, what's next for you guys?
We just released an album like a couple of months ago, and it's now on vinyl, you know, and we're just like focused on like that and having a little bit of a rest, and just yeah, we're planning on making a remix album out of this as well. So that's the next project.
We're doing like shows in Europe now until December, and then we go back to South America and do some festivals there.
Busy guys. You try and hook up the London thing, right?
Yeah.
That's a whole other story for another interview. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.